a small, ironic smile. And she'd thought being overweight was her biggest worry. The patrol car slowed to a near standstill. Vic Purdy in the passenger seat, a veteran cop with more than 30 years under his belt, one that over time had had to be let out a few notches to accommodate his ever-expanding girth, rolled his window down to bark, "Move it along, folks. You'll all get your chance down at the courthouse." A set of meaty fingers hooked over Vic's partially lowered window, and a face loomed into view, only its upper half visible. A pair of beady eyes peering from under an australopithecine brow. "Anna, did you do it for the money? Your sister must have left you a bundle." The fingers were snatched back just in time to keep them from being caught in the window as it whirred up. The cop behind the wheel muttered another curse and gunned the engine. They jerked forward, the throng fanning out on either side. Then, with a final lurch over the worst of the potholes, in which every spring at least one hapless motorist became mired, they were on the road. Hearing her name spoken, no, shouted, had had the effect of cold water being dashed over her. Ever since she could remember, it had been Monica in the spotlight. Monica they clamored for. Few had even noticed Monica's mousy nobody of a sister, whose last name was Vincenzi, not Vincent, standing quietly off to the side. Anna might have found it exciting that she was the center of attention now, if the circumstances that had placed her there hadn't been so ghastly. The patrol car picked up speed as it headed toward town, a pale scarf of dust twisting in its wake. Anna sat rigidly in her seat, staring out the window at the fields and pastures scrolling past. They rattled over cattle grids and jounced over potholes. Cows and horses, peacefully grazing, flashed by like storybook images from a period in her life long past. The cop seated beside her, a young Hispanic woman, asked if she wanted the air conditioner turned down. Anna, who hadn't realized she was shivering, turned toward her, noticing her for the first time. Irma Rodriguez, her nameplate read. She had glossy black hair pulled back in a braid, and would have been pretty if not for the acne that had ravaged her face. Anna found herself mentally counseling. Eat plenty of leafy green vegetables, stay away from saturated fats, and cleanse with a good exfoliate. But Irma Rodriguez wasn't one of Monica's fans seeking advice. Anna recalled the last email to which she'd replied, just hours before word came of Monica's death. To mamabear@earthlink.com, from monicavincent.com. Subject, what now? Dear Jolene, what's going to be different this time? From what you've told me, he's begged your forgiveness before. If he were really sincere, he'd get help. But if he won't, that shouldn't stop you from doing so. If not for yourself, then for your kids. Do you want them growing up this way? Do you think the fact that he hasn't hit them, yet, is any reason to keep from leaving him? There are other ways to damage a child, believe me. Now she would never know how it had all turned out. Not just for Jolene, but for the countless others to whom she doled out big sisterly advice, everything from beauty tips to safe sex. What if they found out she had been posing as Monica? Would they feel betrayed, thinking it some sort of cruel joke, not something she'd fallen into almost by accident, the result of Monica's indifference to her fans? The thought brought a sharp stab to the pit of her stomach. Would she get the chance to tell them she'd had only their best interests at heart? Irma offered her a stick of gum. Anna sensed she was nervous, like someone on a first date. Crimes of this sort were almost unknown in Carson Springs. There'd been the nun murders the year before last, but Sister Beatrice was now safely locked away in an institution for the criminally insane. Other than that, the most that ever happened were Waldo Squires' overnight detentions for being drunk and disorderly. Now, with Monica's death, cops whose public exposure had been limited to addressing the town council about such matters as the need for more parking meters downtown found themselves thrust into the glare of the limelight. It seemed suddenly